Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is New Year's Day, so let me just start off by wishing everyone a Happy New Year. It's actually about 1 o'clock here in Huntsville, Alabama, and coming to you from my home base here in Huntsville, our old farm. And just thought I'd share a few things with you. Sort of a recap of the channel and what I've been doing for some of you that have not been along from the first. I uploaded the first video, I guess it was, May the 7th of 2024. And a little interesting thing about the channel is how I got it started. If you go back and watch the first video, I think I explained that. But my wife had passed away in January, early January of 2024. I guess I can say last year now. And we have been traveling by travel trailer and motorhome. You can probably see the old motorhome if I can get out of the way, back in behind my little camper. And we did that since 1976. Was when we bought our first travel trailer. Went through 3 travel trailers, and then because my mother-in-law was having trouble riding in the back seat of the pickup truck, the old blue one, I don't know if you can see it over there or not, but she was having trouble riding in the back of it because it wasn't a full crew cab. And so we bought a motorhome so she could travel with us. And that was probably the greatest motor travel we ever did. We traveled all over the country, put almost 100,000 miles on that motorhome. Went all over the Northeast in it, went as far west as Oklahoma, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and really enjoyed that motor travel. Well, fast forward to 2024, and my grandniece was getting married in Santa Cruz, California. Now, I won't say that I'm afraid of flying, but let me just say I do not like flying. I don't like the hassle, and I had not traveled by airplane since back on 9/11. So you can see how I was facing some difficulties in figuring out TSA, etc. So I thought, well, maybe I'll rent a car and drive out there, because my old truck I wasn't sure would make it. And that, I started looking at things, and that just didn't make good sense. I thought, well, why don't I just buy me a nice late model automobile to drive out there? I had plans to stay in Las Vegas for a few days on the way to Santa Cruz, and I wanted to walk a few walks along the way, Santa Fe, Phoenix. And so I started looking into buying a small truck to travel in, a late model small truck. Well, things progressed, and as I kept looking, I kept thinking, you know, I don't like hotels no more than I like flying. So I'm going to buy me a late model pickup truck. Wound up buying a new one, a 2300 Dodge. 23 model 3500 Dodge, a dually, long bed. And I went and bought that pickup camper that you've seen me in. And I thought, that's just perfect for me by myself. I can travel light, I can travel quick, and I can park it just about anywhere I want to park it. Anywhere you could park a 1-ton pickup. Except in parking garages, of course. I learned you couldn't do that. So that began my quest to travel west by camper. Well, I started thinking the biggest item on my bucket list, and we all have one, I'm sure, was to travel through Alaska. So I went and got me a passport and started out from here on May the 7th. Along that trip, and I got to look at my notes here, pardon me, along my trip, that trip I traveled and shot videos. I traveled through more, but I shot videos in 22 states, 2 Canadian provinces, and 1 Canadian territory. I shot video at 7 tractor shows and plan to do more of those. The plans for the future for the channel, you can look for a few changes. One, I'm probably going to rename the channel because I started out just planning for this one trip, and it was going to be walking and learning about a pickup camper. Well, I'm going to back up just a little bit because I skipped something I wanted to say. The reason for the channel, when I started talking about this trip, I had a lot of family and friends who said, you need to send us a text every night and let us know where you're at. Well, that just didn't make sense to me. I understood their concern, but I wasn't going to sit down and send a group text to about 25, 30 people and then have them start replying every time I send a text and never get any sleep at night. So I talked to my nephew and he set up this channel for me. And I told him, if you want to know where I'm at, you can do 2 things. You can call me or you can watch my YouTube channel. And I will try to post a video every night where I'm at and every morning where I plan to go. At that time, that was all I planned to do with this thing. And then I was going, when I got home, I was just going to shut it down. Well, as I traveled along, I started seeing some sites that I thought, you know, it'd be nice to catch that on video. So I started videoing sites, bought the GoPro, tried different methods of videoing, and started recording sites I was seeing along the way. Never intending the channel to go beyond 20, 25 people. A lot of people started following. And I sure appreciate it. Every one of you that have watched any of my videos, whether you've watched them all or just watched one of them, I sincerely appreciate it. I don't ever expect this channel to grow to the point with a lot of the big channels where I'll be making money off of it. Don't necessarily have any desire to do that. If it did, it'd be great. If it don't, that's okay. The other thing I found about the channel is traveling along. Me and my wife always travel together. We travel, as I said, all over this country. And you had somebody to talk to. Just talk about things you saw. Well, when you're traveling by yourself, you either drive down the road talking to yourself, and that's not healthy, or you set up a camera and you start talking to people out there in YouTube land who might like to watch you. Whether anybody's watching or not, at least you're talking to somebody, thinking that somebody will watch it. So I'm carrying on a conversation with somebody. And that helped a bunch on the trip. That trip particularly, that first trip, took me 15,540 miles. Almost wore out the warranty on my truck. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. It was good therapy for me. It was good to get away from home and get out and see some things I'd always wanted to see. What about the future of the channel? Well, a couple of things. Probably going to see a name change. As I said earlier, I'm probably going to change it to something like Bill's Adventures or something like that, something short. And I'm going to focus probably in the coming year on traveling to tractor shows. I'll catch video along the way. And as I see things, I'll continue to record and talk to people. And I will record a lot of the tractor shows. Some I can think right up off the bat that I hope to go to this year would be the Florida Flywheelers down in South Florida in February. I hope to attend the Crossroads of Dixie Tractor Show in Lawrenceburg. I definitely plan to, one way or the other, Lord willing, if he don't take me out of this world first, we'll be at the Classic Green reunion 2025 up in West Bend, Wisconsin. I have a little task up there and I'm looking forward to carrying that out. And I plan to go to the Half Century of Progress in Rantoul, Illinois. Great show, great show. And along with a lot of local shows, particularly our Southland Flywheeler show in the fall and in the spring, and lots of other local shows. I really enjoy the tractor shows. I enjoy messing with old antique tractors, and I just invite y'all along to check out these old tractors. If you're not a tractor buff, you might find something interesting. We get to record some videos of some equipment and tractors and people even. After the Classic Green reunion show in June of 2025, I think it's the week of I'll be there the week of the 8th through the 15th of June. Following that show, my plan is to find a place to store my trailer with my tractors and equipment on it, and then head out towards eastern Canada. I'm going to be traveling by ferry, I hope, across the lake, and then on up across Canada, out to Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and just all the territories out in eastern Canada, as much as I can see. Probably take about 2 weeks on that trip, maybe 3. I'm not going to push myself. And be stopping at Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome and such as that. So look forward to that. If you like the travel videos, we'll have some of, like I said, of some really interesting territory, particularly out in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Not sure much about it. I hadn't done much research on it, but I'm looking forward to it. The only place I have been in the eastern edge of eastern end of Canada is Toronto. Went up there for a Toastmasters meeting one time. So again, Happy New Year to everyone, and thank y'all, each and every one of you, for traveling along with me. If you're new to the channel, I encourage you to go back and look at some of the video from particularly Sedona, Arizona, the trip between Phoenix and Sedona. That was really kind of what started recording the scenery. Some of the territory through Nevada, and certainly the Alaska and Canada videos, along with videos in Oregon and Washington. There's one video on there, by the way, of Big Sur, California, a place I'd always wanted to see, and drive across the Bixby Bridge. So there's a video of that on there. So anyway, I keep trying to end this video, and I keep thinking of other things to say. But again, thank you all for watching. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope 2025 brings everyone a blessed year. And before I go, I'm going to swing the old camera around a little bit and show y'all some of my antique tractors. You've seen some of them in videos as we're showing up to different shows. But I'm going to swing you around here. Pardon all the junk sitting around here, because we do collect junk, I guarantee you. And I'm going to try to pick this thing up without being too unstable with it, and walk you out through some of my old tractors and my nephew's tractors. We got a 70 propane there, a 60 all fuel, and those are my nephew's. My little B with cultivators on it, my LA, my old D that's electric start, and back in the distance there's my G, which was one of the tractors me and my dad farmed with back when we first started farming out here. An old R that I'm working on, but just about ready to start taking it to shows. A little AR that I purchased, and it's about as rusty as you can get, but the old thing runs pretty darn good after I fixed a few little problems with it. You've seen my little 430 that I call Beverly's 430. That was another one my dad and I farmed with. Then next is a 40 that standard that belongs to my nephew, and a hand start D. It's a 38 model, I believe. And then I'm gonna swing y'all on around, and there's a little Gibson I've got that I'm working on, trying to fix it. I think it's got a mag problem. Here's a it's a wartime A, they call it, and waiting to try to find some of the right parts for it. Once I find them, I'm gonna put it back together. Bought it from a good friend of mine, and I hope to have it running one day. This is a little 430 standard with cultivators on it that my nephew and I bought out an estate, and there was 5 or 6 tractors in it. That's one of them, and the little tractor runs great. Here is a carcass. It's a 37A, and I have plans for that. Believe it or not, I do have plans for it. I bought it from a friend to get the crankshaft out of it for another A I was working on. In the meantime, I found another crankshaft, and I started looking at this thing, and I thought, I wonder if I could find the parts to make a tractor out of it. Well, I did. I bought a bunch of parts from a gentleman up in Illinois, a place called Countryside Tractor, I believe it is, and Luke up there. He furnished me all the parts I needed. I've got them in the machine shop right now, and so I'm going to put that thing together and make a tractor out of it. Those are actually original flat spoke wheels, by the way. Here's an old Avery. I'd bought it planning to, out of an estate, by the way, and I was planning to, it's got cultivate with it when I was going to start a little trunk patch operation, but it's just too much work. It is too much work to lift that lever up and down, and with my bad shoulder, that's just not happening. So eventually I'm going to either sell that one, or I'm thinking about pulling the engine out of it. I got a Oliver OC3 crawler that uses the same engine. Thinking about putting that engine in the crawler. Down here, y'all, if you watched the video, well, no, I hadn't posted it yet, so you couldn't have watched it. This is a little H, 39H, that I bought from a gentleman up in Illinois, and real fine man. And I bought it and a Parch 43, I believe, 43, 45, I'm not sure. But that's my next project. Get that running good. First thing I got to do is check compression on it. Once I find out what the compression status is, got good compression, I'm just going to tune her up and get her going. I've got all the sheet metal for it. Oh, here's another A. It's a 35. I believe it's 35, and it's got to have a little work done on it. Flywheel keeps wanting to walk off on it. I got to figure that out. Kind of scared to drive it with that flywheel trying to walk off of it. You can see the size of that flywheel right there, and when that thing comes off, woo doggies, it could be a disaster for anybody around you or even yourself. So that's got to have some work done on it. This is another one out of that estate sale we bought. This is a 1010. I don't remember what the designation on it is. Maybe I don't know. It's just a 1010. But they had different versions of them. I'm not sure what version that is. Nephew decided he would take that one. And down here, got my brother's Tricycle 40 that has to have a little work done on it. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but anyway. And my nephew's Wartime B. Thinking about taking this one to the show up at Wisconsin. They're featuring bees up there. So if I can swing things and fit everything in my trailer, I'm gonna take it and that other bee you saw with cultivators on it. One last tractor I'll show you, and I'm not gonna show you my junkers out yonder because I got a whole bunch of junkers that need that are here for parts primarily. This is a little LI, and it's got to have a few things done to it. I'm trying to get everything made to run the sickle bar, and a little tractor runs good. It runs really good, and but I've got a problem with the fuel tank that I've got to fix, and then I've got the equipment to make the sickle bar run except for a belt, and so I'm working on getting all that stuff made. And so that's a little bit of our farm. Our antique tractors, we're no longer farming. My dad and my wife and I raised Bermuda hay over this entire place. You can see there was the old barn that we stored hay in, and we raised quality Tifton 44 Bermuda. But after the Lord, well, I won't put it that way. My dad quit. He was 89 when he raked, when we started the season, the last season of hay. He was 89, and he that turned 89 in May, and that fall he told me, he said, "Son, I gotta quit you." He said, your mama's complaining about me being up here, and it's just getting to be too much, so I'm gonna have to quit you. And I said, "Okay, Daddy, that's fine." We farmed together on and off for about 25, 30 years up here, and that was a wonderful time in my life. I'm not so sure it's a wonderful time in Daddy's life, because I'm about as stubborn as he is. And we had different ideas on how to do things. So I'm gonna sit back down here, and so a lot of times we would lock horns, but all in all, I think it was great for him. We had started this project because one Christmas day he said, "Son, what are you going to do with that property you bought?" I just had 15 acres up front then. And I said, "Well, I don't know, Daddy." I said, "I may build a house on it. I'm not sure." And he said, "Well, if you had the equipment, I'd farm it." He'd always wanted to farm, never could afford to. And I said, "Daddy, come spring, you'll have the equipment." So I bought us some an old Farmall, 240 Farmall, and only Farmall I got on the place still, and some equipment. And he raised vegetables for, I think, 3 years, and finally said, "Son, that's a little bit more work than I need." He was near 70 when he started, and so he said, "Let's go in the hay business." I said, "Okay." So we went in the hay business, bought more land. I bought the adjacent land, and we rented some land various places across the area, and we were doing very well with the Bermuda hay, and so that was a good time in his life, I hope. I know it was a great time in my life. Never made a dime hardly out of it. I think 1 year I had to pay Social Security off of it. but never made any money to speak of. But we were able to get property that I will keep for my lifetime, and hopefully my heirs will pass it down and keep it open property around our area. Almost every square foot of property gets gobbled up and put in subdivisions, and I hope that never happens to my place. So anyway, back to where I was. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope the year brings y'all a great experiences. I hope it brings me great experiences as I continue to struggle. And any of you that's been through this know what a struggle it is. And I'm going to try to keep my composure. But I'm doing the things that we always did together. So follow along with me. See the sights I see. I'll share as much about my life as I can as I go along. And just have a happy New Year. Bye, y'all.